a citrus fruit that serves as a dog collar for misbehaving animals in the city. With all that out of the way, this was a great conversation. I'm good friends with Baby O, and yet I got to ask some questions here that I had never asked them before, so that's pretty exciting. If you enjoy the podcast, remember to follow it, etc. And I'm Alex Southey. This is Your Worst Song. What have I been up to? Not too much. I just have been sending out emails and stuff like that, and cleaning a bit because I'm moving out.
Yeah, what's going on with that? Like,
I'm
have you
just
found a spot?
No. So I may be back at my parents' place in Markham for a month, but I mean, hey, saving
Okay.
money, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry, dude. Like, it's funny. I was looking for a roommate, but then I literally got one for July, which is like and I was like, fuck, I would have,
No,
I
no,
could, I know. It's
it's all good. So does that mean, wait, does that mean they're there for only July, or do you mean just
no.
starting July?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
starting in July.
gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, it's all good. I mean, I feel like musicians move around a lot, so there will be an opening. It's just
Yeah.
maybe it'll be August 1st instead, you know?
Yeah. I know. It's the timing is hard for sure.
That and
Um,
also maybe like early September, the shuffling because of
yeah,
students, there a lot more housing.
totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
But yeah, other than that, not too much. I've just been enjoying working on this podcast, honestly.
That's
Uh,
awesome. That's so good.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, I appreciate you coming on. I'm glad that you came on. I feel like I've seen you live enough, and we've also played enough that I know a lot of your
Yeah.
songs. So
Aw.
that was
Yeah.
especially intriguing for the premise of the show.
Yeah.
Uh, but we can get to that in a bit. What were you gonna
What
say?
was it like, is was it just your worst song or could it also be your worst performance? Or do you like to keep it to worst song? Because you saw my worst performance of
I
all time.
did. I know what
Okay.
you think is your worst, but I don't think it was. Are you thinking
It
the
was
one?
horrifying. Like
Uh,
literally, it was okay. Like, you know what was so horrifying about it, which is actually hilarious? Like during a single song, I was so messed up that I switched from 4/4 to like 6/4 time, not intentionally. I just suddenly started playing guitar differently. And I'm like,
yeah.
what the hell is happening? I
So am
was
I thinking of the
really,
right thing? Was it Junction Underground? And we can
yeah,
bleep that if we must. But
yeah, yeah. It
okay.
was.
Why was it bad? Because I don't remember thinking it was bad. I remember you thinking it was bad, but I don't remember thinking it was.
It was so bad. I mentally, okay, I hadn't played in a long time. There had been like many months since I last played.
You
And it
said
was
that, yeah.
also my first show that I was playing solo. I wasn't playing with a band that night. And I was not in a good headspace, like at all. I had gone through a breakup that was still really fucking with me. And just like I just couldn't believe that like I just felt like I didn't even know how to hold my guitar. It was like bizarre. I just like and yeah, and then when I think about like the fact that like in a single song, like I switched the time feel like not intentionally and I was just like so horrified and embarrassed by like how unprofessional that was. Um I'm like glad that the audience didn't feel or you said you felt like it was fine, but
They're
still
not inspecting your every move the way you are in your head, obviously,
yeah, I was
Uh,
horrified. I was very embarrassed by that performance, truly.
well, you got ahead of me, but the first question we usually do is what worst gig. So this is maybe the perfect.
Okay.
No, no, it's great. You got right into it. So, but that was worst performance in your. Yes, you noticed all of these errors, but I'm curious if there was another performance that maybe because of outside factors was a tough one.
Let me think of the outside factors.
Whether when you get to the gig or
Yeah.
transit.
Yeah. Or like, I feel like maybe the biggest outside factor that messes with me, I would say, is like sound.
Hmm.
Um, like I feel like sometimes I don't mind if you're just kind of like, even if aren't folks attentively watching, I'm okay with that, really, but I think what bothers me most is if I'm not performing in the way that I want to be performing. And I usually find that that can happen. Of course, your own maybe mental state of mind isn't great, but like an external factor, I would say, is like if the sound is weird, you're getting feedback, you can't hear yourself, stuff like
Hmm.
that. So I feel like that has definitely been a thing for me. And like there's been instances, like I can think of like two strange instances where like sound guys have like overstepped and like either just ignored me or just like fully. I had a sound guy once like adjust my pedals without asking, like, or well, was just like without listening to me, was just like, oh, let me just like tweak this. And at the time, I was just like, okay, like I just want to be respectful, like I don't want to overstep. But then I'm like, what the heck? Like, and then like he had switched my pedals, and then I'm playing the show, and I was like, this feels weird because this is not what I typically would do. And I'm like, why did he even do that? Like,
Not to mention some pedals are rhythmic. Like that could easily
yeah,
legitimately throw off your song, not
yeah,
just it sounding sonically weird. But I mean, we know why that happened. But
yeah, yeah.
basically, did it happen to your male counterparts or another?
No, it
No, that's
didn't.
never happened to
Didn't.
me. I
Yeah.
feel like tweaking with somebody's pedal board is like a real personal guitar or bass thing, right? It's a
Yeah.
very
Yeah. And
to
then
your
obviously,
taste.
yeah. And like that's the thing too. Like I think in the moment, like, and I notice this with a lot of femmes, and like non-men, it's like you gaslight yourself in the moment. You're like, oh, no, 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 like, this seems okay. Like this person knows. So like in the moment, I was just like, oh, of course, like, like do your thing. Like I don't want, but then like, and then it was like one of my like a friend who was with me, my bandmate, who was like, yeah, he didn't do that to me. My bandmate is, sort of like his mask person. And I
Hmm.
was just like, oh, he didn't do it to me. And like was like that was weird as heck. And I was like, oh right. Like it's almost like I needed to be reminded, like, yeah, that was weird. It is okay to feel weird about it.
Well,
But
there are so many things at play too, because they could just be a regular old douche and just be messing with your stuff. But then that's why you check in with your guitarist. It didn't happen to them, mass presenting, like you said. Then you'd know, okay, it's not just standard douchey behavior; it's targeted. Uh,
And like, well, and that's the thing too, it's like as weird as it was, like I really do feel like the intention isn't bad. Real it's not bad. Like, it isn't a cool move, but I don't think that this guy really did have bad intentions. It's just like maybe if he could have slowed himself down, like, why am I so compelled to
mhm.
like adjust this, woman's pedal board. Like, and I'm not feeling like I need to do that for the dude. Like maybe if he could just slow down for a second, like it's okay that maybe you had that drive, you want to be helpful. Like I feel like he just really wanted to be helpful, but it's like then you just completely bulldozed over my intentions and my agency, and it's like, why are you doing that to me? I do have a lot of understanding. And I don't think it came necessarily from a bad place, but it's like you gotta like, hold like just chill for a sec. Like, why are you even doing this, for example?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's unlikely the guy was going up there thinking, I'm gonna fuck
Yeah.
with her, right? It's
Yeah.
much more likely uh it was well intentioned, but the well
Yeah.
intention came from actually a not so good instinct that's
Yeah.
like ingrained or
Yeah.
whatever. Like you're
Yeah.
saying, it wasn't a front of the
Yeah.
head thought. Yeah, anyway,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
that's a tough situation to navigate.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
now I feel like not only, I feel like, I don't know when that happened. When was that in your career?
Um, maybe like 8 months ago. So not really even that long ago, but
Okay.
or maybe a little more, something like that. But I feel like I've also really like ever since putting out this EP that I put out, I feel like through the winter I went through like a little bit of like a really positive deepening in confidence, and like I'm just like I do know what I'm doing, and like although I haven't been performing in Toronto for so many years, like I'm still, I hesitate to say new because I don't know
It's
if
like
that's
relative to what? You know what I mean?
right,
Yeah.
exactly. But like I guess because maybe I'm just like, well, I haven't been performing for years and years and years. Like this person is a sound person for years. They must know. But like I just so at that point I was just like, okay, like I just respect, like this is an older person, knows what they're doing.
Hmm.
I'm like maybe there's something I'm missing here. But I think yeah, I feel so much more confident in what I know and what I do that that would never, like someone coming to touch my pedal board right now, absolutely not. So
No,
yeah.
that's actually what I was going to get to is even that's why I asked how long ago it was. But to me, at least more recently, you've never not been confident. But now I feel like you really are kind of confident with the guitar playing as much as your songwriting. And when I say guitar playing, I'm including the pedals and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. It's clear. And so it makes sense that, or hopefully it doesn't happen
Yeah.
again. Um, yeah. Well, flipping to the opposite, hopefully we can come up with some positive stories. I also ask best gig.
That one's easy.
Okay, okay.
My best gig was this May, my EP release show at the Monarch, where we had Megan Aversa and Your Honey as well supporting that night. That was by far my best gig. And like I said, through the winter, I just had gone through this like sort of deepening in trust with myself. Like I've been writing songs since I was a teenager and then only started to publicly share them in my late 20s.
Hmm.
So like I've been a songwriter for a long time. I haven't been a performer for a very long time, but my EP release show, I just felt like I just felt like a deepening in my connection to my artistry. And it was the best I ever played and sang. The energy was just so intense. I could feel a really powerful exchange between me and the audience. Um, and I just felt like this was like my first step really into the artistry that I strive for, like on
Hmm.
all levels. Like I felt like it was like my first taste of finally achieving the rock show that I've always wanted to achieve, like aesthetically, energetically. And it's only the beginning, but like I felt like I could taste it for the first
Hmm.
time. And the audience was just so receptive to it. Definitely by far my best show was my EP release show in May. So anyone who was there, thank you for being part of that. It was good. Looking forward to more of that.
That's your excitement about that was very palpable. That sounds great. I wish I could. Is there? There's no recordings of that, right? Or
There,
like
there's some videos. I have
videos?
some
Okay,
reels.
some
Yeah, I have
videos.
some
Nice.
reels of the night up on my IG.
Okay, well,
Um,
go look those up, people listening.
yes, yes.
That sounds like a great lineup as well. Very complimentary. Not the same, but very complimentary stuff.
Yeah. And I
Uh,
would say, like, just on that note, too, like,
mhm.
so many folks reached out to me after the show, too, being like, what a memorable night. Like, I loved Your Honey. I loved Megan Aversa. Like, a lot of folks who came were excited about the lineup overall. And maybe they knew my music, but maybe they hadn't heard some of the other artists, perhaps, and they were just super hyped on all of that, too. And obviously, like, both Megan and Your Honey, like all their fans were there too, and it was just wicked. It felt like a really great night.
And Monarch is a spot where they really care about music. Like it's not just a bar that doubles as a venue or whatever. It's like people go there specifically for the music, and it's the real focal point. Um,
Totally.
and also, if anybody's around there, not that it's sponsored or anything, but the pizza's fucking good. That's right across from it.
The Tondos,
Yeah,
yeah.
Batanos. I was gonna say Body Ollie's or whatever, but that's the one that's
On Dover
in.
Court.
Yes, exactly.
It-
I'm very far
yeah.
away from what I'm thinking.
We ate
Uh,
some Tondos before the show, so that helped fuel the rock and roll that you heard that night.
there you go. You know what's funny too? That sounds like a great night. What I thought you were gonna say was the Dakota show because that was also a really great show.
But let me tell you, that was a great show, and that was a great show. I just feel like I've been striving for this vision that I have, this vision of rock and roll that I want to take I want to put my spin on it because I am such a lover and fucking so passionate about rock music. And when I go to shows, it's like I don't really see in the spaces the super fans who look like me, the super fans that I engage with. I'm part of like fan groups that I engage with, and it's like older white dudes, and then there's me. And I'm just like, rock and roll matters so much to me on so many different levels, sonically, energetically, aesthetically. And I feel like I've been slowly inching towards it. And the Monarch was like the first time where I felt like I was starting to like touch every aspect of that in a way that I'm so excited to see where it goes. Sorry, my dog's just knocking over stuff behind me.
No, it's okay. It creates ambiance and atmosphere. Shout out to your dog, by the way. What's your dog's name?
Tony, let's go.
Tony, right.
Wait, Tony, come here. Come be in the podcast. Okay, no, he's shy.
Okay. Well, no, that sounds so nice. I feel like too what you're describing is some of it's literal that you can touch, like some of it is I played well, but some of it is intangible, like the chemistry and energy that you have with, but it's when you do feel like you could taste that, it's a very good feeling.
Yeah, sorry. He's literally
No, it's
not.
okay.
I'm sorry. I just need to grab.
Grab Tony.
No, Tony. No, come here. Come, Tony. You gotta go outside.
Oh, Tony took her out. Tony's going to take over the podcast now. I'm not going to cut this out.
Sorry.
Yes, hey, fantastic. I thought you were going to walk back into screen, but you popped back in like, I don't know. That was fantastic.
I was running.
So where's Tony now?
I just let him sit on the porch when he gets upset. Tony really loves rock and roll a lot. And I actually have music playing at all times in the house. But I had to turn it off for this interview, so he got pissed. And that's why he was knocking over stuff.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I feel like there's that thing that people say where they, dogs and their owners begin to act and even sometimes look more alike. You're not there with the look thing yet, but acting might be pretty close.
Definitely.
Out of curiosity, when you play,
there's Tony.
Liv just held up her phone and showed Tony on her phone screen with a cool hat.
Calgary Flames.
Great. Calgary Flames. Yeah. See, I don't watch enough hockey. Sea on Fire. Well, oh yeah, this is what I was going to ask. Sorry, I was scratched by a very cute dog. When you play music out loud in your place, is it vinyl? Is it speakers? Vinyl with speakers, or is it digital or what?
It's mostly we listen to the radio. So that's how we listen to music. And yeah, it's mostly the radio, but I work in radio too. So it's something I like to always have on in the background. It's how I grew up too. My parents, I grew up in a house that always had the radio on. And my parents are not musicians, but very big time music lovers. So I just always had, music on, and I kind of still do that now too. So it's mainly the radio when I'm listening to music. And yeah, when I listen to a lot of my favorite artists when I'm sitting in my room working on music. So I'll just listen on streaming platforms, honestly. But yes, and I do buy vinyl as well. But when I'm maybe listening, I have it on, I listen to it on streaming platforms as well.
Yeah, it makes sense. For some reason, I picture you aesthetically having vinyl just going all the time.
All the time.
I'm
glad you picture that.
Yeah, that's how I picture it. And people at home, forget everything that Liv just said. That's what she's doing. It's vinyl all the time.
Scratch that, yeah.
Yes. What that reminded me of was I had not my house growing up, but my friend's house. They had a speaker system that was all around the house. It was in the wall or whatever. And so you'd walk from room to room and they would always have the radio on. So it was a very cool, anyway, that's what that reminded me of.
Cool.
Good memory. Cool. Yeah. Well, let's, we have to end on a low because that's this podcast. So that means the high that we're going to get to first is, what do you think the best song is that you have released? and
that
take
have
that.
released.
Yes, and take it however you want.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because it's like I know you are constantly writing, whether or not you maybe see yourself that way. So like I think a lot
This
of
isn't about me. It's good.
Tonight, the Blue Jays face the Cleveland Guardians. The Jays are 35-39 and the Guardians are 46-26. Much better. We're facing the Guardians for the next 2 days. It's going to be a rough one. They're quite good. No idea what's happening with the team. And back to your red drill.
Yeah.
Well, hang on a second. I was going to say, I think you would agree, perhaps, and maybe a lot of artists would agree, that the best thing that they've written, or the best thing, yeah, their best song is usually the thing that they're working on in the moment, right?
Sure,
Like,
for sure.
because it's like a culmination of all the things that you've learned up to that point and like the things that you're honing in on. So,
Well, also, if it's not your favorite thing, it's like it's going to be tough to get across the finish line if you don't
yeah,
care about it that much. You
yeah,
know, you have to care
so
about it that
true.
much. Yeah.
So
Sorry,
true.
go ahead. So with
No, no,
that, yeah,
no.
with that in mind.
That's a good point too. So the songs that I have out, I don't have that much music out, because I've only started releasing music quite recently.
Mhm.
But I would say
You've
I
got
just
more cooking though. You got more
I got a
cooking.
lot more
Yeah.
cooking. I got a
Yeah.
lot more cooking for sure. And you can hear those new things at the live show and whatnot. But out of the songs that I've released, so I recently put out an EP in April, Visions I See Clearly, which is 6 tracks. And I would say the best song on there, I think, you know what, I'm gonna say from because where I'm at right now, so from a songwriting perspective, when I'm thinking about the songwriting, because I can get in the weeds on arranging. I love to get into the weeds on
Yeah.
arranging and stuff. But then I think that's where I sometimes lose the plot on the actual song. So we'll get to that too. So sorry, I'm gonna say Meant for Me, which I know you also like that one.
Love that
And
song. Yeah.
I think that's the best song that I have out in the world.
Okay. Wow. Big scope there too. I like the way you ended that.
In the world.
Yeah, I love it. For people who check out that song and they like it, go check out the what is it technically called? It's you playing live in the river.
Oh yes, with Dawn. Yeah, there is a live video of me on the canoe. It's a canoe video, yeah, with
Yeah.
Dawn River.
It's very cool. It's like a
Yeah.
minimal setup, but
Yeah.
another local artist, musician, does this thing where he films, legitimately acoustic, unplugged performances on a little canoe. Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
cool. And the version of Meant for Me that Baby O just referenced is great.
Yeah. Thank you.
But yeah, I see why that's also your best song in your opinion for songwriting wise and
Yeah.
that kind of thing. I think it is maybe like emblematic too of the best things about your music. It sort of
Thank you.
has those things. Yeah, yeah. Like I love the way you pronounce some stuff. You have a
Cool.
you have a cool voice. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. That's cool. I mean, I do think those are like my influences coming through for sure in the way that I sing words and stuff. I do think it comes from a lot of my influences, like, because I think I like to write in this sort of like, I want to write hooks. I want to write melodies that you're going to want to sing. And I do really care a lot about that. But then also I am very like inspired by artists that are like, so maybe like what I'm trying to say is like I like the idea of like pop songwriting where it's stuff that you remember melodies you want
It's
to
like
sing,
hook kind of
hooks, yes. But then also like I'm very inspired by like artists like Bob Dylan and Daniel Romano,
right.
and Juliana Riolino and artists like that. And I think you can really hear that in the way that I sing and maybe pronounce words and whatnot, actually. I always want to feel like I'm really like chewing.
That is it.
On what I'm singing. Like I want you to, it just has to feel like raw
Oh
and
yeah. Those lyrics are pen
ugh,
caps. Those lyrics are chewed up pen caps when you're done
yeah,
with them.
that's
I
yeah.
love it the way you do it with you can hear it on Meant for Me, I think. There's a bit to the point that it makes me sometimes think the lyrics are other lyrics, but then that makes me go and look up the lyrics. I like all of that stuff.
Cool,
Yeah.
cool, cool.
Um well, yeah, it's amusing that unfortunately you have a small public pool to choose from at the moment for your songs.
Yeah.
However, uh, I've said this in other interviews too, just by virtue of the fact that you released whatever song you've chosen as your worst song, it
Mhm.
must be good enough you at least thought you wanted to release it. You know what I mean? It passed
Yeah.
that test.
Yeah.
So, with that in mind, people go listen to Meant for Me. With that in mind, please share with us your worst song.
Okay. And yes, like worse, like of course I'm very,
Yeah,
very proud
a
of it.
million air quotes around the song
Yeah.
worst. Yeah.
So I would say my worst song, hilariously, is Backseat, which
Hmm.
is one of the singles that I put out in this winter, spring.
I
And
believe
the
it's also number 2 on Spotify, so it's popular.
okay, it's like
Yes.
I mean, I think it's hooky.
Yeah.
I think it's I think it's I think the instrumental arrangements are cool as hell. My problem with it, I feel
Uh-huh.
so it is that I maybe got a little too caught up in thinking about riffs and like when things cut in and out, like bass going out and in, and like shakers and all this stuff. Like I was really getting into that I think I lost sight of the song as a whole.
Hmm.
And that's where I feel like it's repetitive in a way that I don't like. I feel like maybe I just lost sight of the song as a whole, and I don't really think it's the most. I don't think it's at its best. I think there's things that I could change about it, just to make it stronger. And also, lyrically, I don't necessarily love it. It's interesting. It started off as a love song, actually.
Oh, backseat, sure.
And yeah, like so it started off a little bit as like more of a love song, like doing drugs and being in love.
Yeah.
Um,
You
and
could
then I
see
was
it being
like,
like an Arctic Monkeys title and subject to me. Backseat, I could see him
yeah,
kind of chewing on
yeah,
those
yeah.
things.
I
Yeah.
freaking love Arctic Monkeys.
There you
So
go.
anyway, so it kind of started off like that, and then I was like, no, 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 no. I'm not writing a love song here. No. I was like, I should write a song kind of more about myself and like loving me, like, fuck loving other people. Like I love myself. Like, I don't know. I was just having a moment or
Okay.
something. I do
Yeah.
think a lot of my lyrics, and even still now, even in the new stuff that I'm writing, tend to focus on yeah, like that relationship with self, the relationship you have with yourself. I think a lot of my songs do tend to circle around that, like thematically. But yeah, so then the song also shifted, and I just feel like it feels a little sloppy to me. It feels like I just like threw sections in, and I didn't really I got so caught up in like all these little tiny details. I feel like I lost the overall sight of the song as a whole. And that's how I feel about it. But I still think it's a good song. But
uh, well, by section, do you mean the arrangements you put over top of sections, or do you mean like, okay, yeah, I think the verse part of the song is cool, but I added it could have just been a verse, chorus, outro song, but I added all this tiny things plus riffs and plus all this stuff
yeah.
that wasn't necessary. So do you literally mean lengthening the song because of parts, or do you mean shit over top?
No, I think I mean the actual structure
Okay,
of
yeah. Yeah.
like I got caught up in all the little details, like ooh, ear candy. Well, call it ear candy, whatever. Like I got caught up in like, oh yep, shaker moments here, and drum is gonna go like this, and
Which
like
are great things. People love those
yes,
things. Yeah.
yes, and I love that too. However, I think I got caught up in that. I didn't pay enough attention to the lyrics, which I don't fully feel super like I don't love them personally. Whatever. Like lyric writing is an evolving thing. It's hard.
Hmm.
You feel cringe sometimes. You don't feel cringe. Whatever.
Yep.
I get it. But then also I feel like structurally, I was like, okay, yep, song, like verse, pre-chorus, chorus. Again, we're gonna do that. Okay, now we throw in this old. No, like I feel like I could have. I just like did kind of this stock sort of layout without like building energy in a way that I think I could have found ways to build energy in more effective and more moving in a more compelling manner.
Mm.
Yeah, that's how I feel about
I love
it.
that you said stock. I brought that up, I think, in a previous episode because it's part of the. Have you ever seen the Metallica documentary, Some Kind of Monster?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, it's even if you don't like Metallica, people listening, like the cool thing about that documentary is it's not about their music, it's they're on the verge of breaking up, so they hire a therapist. And it's Metallica in therapy, but you do see them also building an album that they later put out. But one of the things they keep kind of sniping at each other with is sounds stock, man. Just sounds like a stock riff. And it's like the most twist of the knife between the two of them.
Yeah.
And so it's so funny that that's such a yeah, true. We all know what you mean, right? Just like
Yeah.
something that doesn't feel original or authentic to
Or
you, I guess,
or compelling,
or
like
compelling.
compelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I just feel like I was just like, yep, this is how a song goes, and now this is the part of the song where you
Yes.
play a little bit of a guitar thing. Whereas I feel like now when I think about it, I think now that I'm becoming even stronger in arranging and structure and lyric writing, I'm like, no, there's a more compelling way to make this moment hit. And I feel like
Hmm.
Backseat lacks like those really compelling moments. However, it's a fun, vibey song, and I'm still super proud of it because I needed to go and make this song so that I can like strengthen those skills. I love to arrange. I love to think about structure, and I'm only going to become more sophisticated with that by doing this kind of stuff. And I love looking back on my songs and being like, yep, I could do that better. And I am, growing in ways. So I'm still hella proud of it. I'm just like, yeah, this is a great starting point ultimately, even though it's
Yeah.
my worst song.
No, definitely. And well, the only thing I want to ask about then, following up with that, because you are talking about the evolution of you as an artist and looking back at it's a moment in time, really, are these recordings of songs. So with that in mind, because I think you do still play it live, even if it's the worst, air quotes.
Mhm, mhm.
Uh, does that mean that you're open to changing what you've decided you didn't like about the studio version and emphasizing, like, you could just, who's stopping you from changing the song to what you like? You know,
Totally. Yeah, no,
or is that something you're already doing or open to doing or?
something I'm certainly open to doing.
Hmm.
Right now, I have a show coming up on Friday, June 28th.
Okay, this will be out. Yeah,
At Burdock with
yeah.
Mozzie, and I actually am I'm sorry, everyone, I'm taking Backseat off the set list for this next show.
Yeah.
Because I do want to rework it, and I am
Hmm.
open to it. However, if I want to continue to play it live, I'm so open to. For me, the studio version does not have to be the live version at all. In some ways, it's like the
No
live
way.
version. Exactly. Like I'm not committed to that at all.
Oh,
The only thing is though with Backseat, it's just like I'm also so much more excited about the stuff that I've been writing now that it's not a priority for me to rework that one in particular.
yeah.
But if I am going to continue to play it live, I'm absolutely like that is top of mind for me to, kind of enhance it in the ways that I think I can. But I've just been writing new stuff that I'm so excited about that it's not something I'm doing, but I'm so aligned with that. Like, yeah, just rework it. Totally. I'm totally
Not
about
to
that.
mention, I think if you do want to keep playing it live, I doubt you have so many members of your live band, correct me if I'm wrong, that you could even do all of that ear candy that you did on the studio version in the first place. You couldn't. To play it live with a band, it just won't be what it was on the studio. And so it'll be cool to embrace that.
Yeah, totally. And I love like, my band members,
All
like I
fantastic.
always, yeah, and I express to them like the energy and the ethos of what I'm trying to do. And yeah, I feel like when I made my EP, it was like a very important, incredible experience. Made it with Aaron Goldstein. what a champ. Like,
Great
totally helped.
artist in his own right.
Yeah, and like so supportive and really brought out the best in me. And through that experience, I've also come to realize like I am ready to lean further into a more heavier sound. And like, yeah, my EP is certainly not that way, but now that I am, playing live and I express this to my bandmates, like we really do try to bring out the most like rock energy from these songs now. So yeah, they really do help me. But yes, I'm kind of focusing on like new stuff right now
That's
that
exciting.
I'm more excited about. Yeah.
Yeah, you just get to ride the wave of the enthusiasm that comes with that new stuff. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
You just boogie board your way to the finish line.
Yeah.
Well, is there any kind of ballpark release time for that? Even like a season or 6-month gap?
Dude, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I have these songs, I demo them all. I love doing that. Like I basically, yeah, so I have these demos where they're fleshed out and then I just like to have people who are actually good at playing those things redo them. But I would love to get out some more music this year.
Sorry,
Maybe
even a standalone single,
Yeah,
even
I know.
feed the machine.
I know. I want to. I really want to. I'm just like money and you know how that whole thing is. It's expensive, but I know I can find ways to do it a little more affordably. Yeah.
For
It's
sure.
just the financial stuff. It's hard. You got like it's hard to put money, but like
Oh yeah.
I know it's worth it. I'm so excited about these songs. I'm really excited about these songs. But yeah, maybe this year, maybe. I'm thinking about it.
I'm gonna just clip
Yeah.
this section and hold a boombox outside of your house if it's
Yeah.
December and you haven't released anything.
You know what? You want what needs to happen? Okay, y'all need to come to the shows. I'm gonna play these new songs, and then like I need to know how excited are we? How excited are we? Do we want these songs out there?
She's guilting you all into coming. Too good.
Come to the shows, hear these tunes. Yeah, and let me know how excited we are.
Yes. Let Liv know how excited you are. When is your show coming up?
So Friday, June 28th.
Okay, so it's a week. It's a week today when we're recording this. The little
Yes.
baseball, inside baseball. It's Friday,
Yeah.
June 21st. So this Monday it'll be out, which means people listening at the end of this week is the show. So go to the show
at Burdock with Mozzie. Incredible indie rock, really beautiful new EP as well. Sorry, not a record, not an EP.
New record.
And we're opening for Mozzie, so we'll be on first, probably. So make sure you're there for like 8:30 so you can hear us. Yeah, and it's gonna be a solid night.
It's a weird thing I never understood. Maybe you'll know because you're like a student of rock history. You know how it's single? Okay, it's like EP, LP, all that stuff.
Yeah,
Why is EP, which we know as shorter than an album?
I know.
Oh, it's the most annoying thing
It's
ever.
weird.
For people who didn't complete the sentence in their heads like us, extended play is EP and limited play is LP, and yet LP is longer. It's
Wait,
right.
I thought LP was long play.
Oh, well, maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe I'm wrong for it.
I thought it was limited play because then it makes
Really?
even less sense, right?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know the history behind these terms.
Oh, you're right. It's long play. Fucking cut this out. Jesus
but
Christ.
still, like EP extended.
That still
Still,
doesn't.
like,
I guess
that
because
sounds-
the context is extended from the single, not extended
Still,
from.
it's weird. It's weird.
Fix yourselves, history. It's weird.
Yeah, and it never makes sense.
Well, on that note, thank you so much for coming on. This is a great conversation. And I would love for you to reintroduce yourself and introduce your worst song, which we'll play.
Yeah, I'm Baby O, and my worst song is Backseat.
Awesome. Thank you. I will. Yeah, it'll fade out now, but yeah, thank you so much for coming on.
Rock and rolls for everyone. Please remember that, folks.
Okay, I'll add that in.
Sky, and me hanging by your door. Now I just want the best for me. So I break my heart and set